The other day, I had this conversation with my youngest daughter. No, honey, I didn't see you do it, but sweetheart, it's obvious that somebody did it, and there's a pile of evidence that screams you did it. Here goes, kiddo badiddo. First, those inanimate dishes didn't get heaped and piled like that, all on their very own. Whenever something gets that way, someone or something had to put it that way. Second, my little house monkey, those dishes were heaped and piled last night, and last night falls within this week, and this week is your week. Third, little Miss Busy Hands, this heaping and piling strategy is the exact same one you used the last time it was your week. Finally, and this may be the most convincing proof that I have, little Miss Bowie Knife, but those are your initials, and they were carved just last night into the cupboards that are above the dishwasher. So I admit, my love, I didn't actually see you do it, but the pile of evidence here compels me to conclude, it's inescapable really, that you had a sovereign little hand in all this. That's the conversation that I had with my youngest daughter the other day. I share it with you because the logic behind it is very similar to the conversation that you and I will have today. A logic-based conversation on revelation. Revelation is a logic trigger. With this lesson, we want to start cutting our adult teeth on Bibliology's revelation. It is important for us to start chewing on this because unlike with my youngest daughter, whom I didn't see do it, but could have seen do it, with God we cannot see him do it. It is impossible for any of us to ever see him do it. Revelation is the doctrine that explains how God overcomes the invisibility of his existence, which incorporates his attributes. Revelation is a logic trigger about invisible God's existence and attributes. This doctrine, coupled with the life on earth facts that 1, things cannot create themselves. You cannot get something from nothing. And 2, the thing created, the creation itself, always reveals, triggers the logical conclusion that its creator exists, and it always reveals, triggers logical conclusions about some of the attributes of whoever it was that created it. We'll begin this lesson by looking at a definition of revelation. From there, we'll move on to the first broad category of revelation, which is known as general revelation. Yes, this is a lesson on revelation as it relates to bibliology, the doctrine of the Bible being the second broad category of revelation, known as special revelation. But it's very common to start with general revelation, setting up, if you will, mankind's need for God's special revelation. With that disclaimer, let's begin with our definition. It's from Schaeffer's Systematic Theology, Volume 1. In its theological usage, the term revelation is restricted to the divine act, meaning God, is restricted to the divine act of communicating, you could say revealing, of communicating to man what otherwise man would not know. Great definition. You'll find it very similar to definitions in other systematic theologies and in creeds. I'm changing one word though. I'm changing would to could. In its theological usage, the term revelation is restricted to the divine act of communicating to man what otherwise man could not know. And here's why man otherwise could not know. God, the divine one, is spirit. Spirit means invisible. Therefore, God is invisible to man. Man cannot directly see God. So at the crux of the definition is the problem that because we cannot see invisible God, we cannot know with certainty that he exists. Revelation is God's solution. Revelation becomes the way in which God overcomes the problem for mankind of his invisibility. Let's move from here and take a look at the first broad category of God's revelation. Accepting Schaeffer's definition, let's move on to general revelation. General revelation was created by God to reveal to all mankind that he who is spirit and therefore invisible does in fact exist. General revelation is a logic trigger compelling us to the inescapable conclusion that a creator God exists. At the same time, general revelation, as a logic trigger, was created by God to reveal to all mankind a few things about himself, a few of his attributes. General revelation works like this. Here's the logic-based conversation that I promised earlier. In the same way, that which may be known about my youngest daughter is evident to me, so also what can be known about God is evident among them, meaning to all mankind, because God has shown it, revealed it to them. And exactly how has God done that? From the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, that is, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood, meaning it's inescapable to conclude, being understood through what he has made. As a result, meaning from the general revelation evidence of creation that forces all mankind to the inescapable conclusion that God exists and he's powerful and divine, the logic being that things cannot create themselves, you cannot get something from nothing. As a result, we go on to read, people are without excuse. Belaboring once again the logic trigger taught in this passage about the way in which God overcomes his invisibility to all mankind through general revelation. No one would argue against the fact that the things of creation didn't just spontaneously create themselves. You cannot get something, especially of creation's magnitude, from nothing. There's no abracadabra for a creation this complex. Therefore, it's inescapable to conclude that all things in creation got here somehow. Some argue that somehow is through time and chance. To me, that position demands from Christians that no intelligence be allowed, no logic be triggered. Others argue, as we Christians do, that all things in creation didn't get here somehow, they got here by someone. That someone is a creation maker, which is to say that someone is a creator, and not just any creator, but an eternally powerful divine creator. This triggered logic is both intelligent and valid. This conclusion is inescapable. There has to be a very creative creator, though invisible to mankind, who exists and has a mammoth sense of humor. To me, it even gets to the point where sometimes I've just got to ask, scream really, how can anybody walk out their front door on any given day and go to any given place and not be confrontationally bombarded by general revelation? General revelation itself is inescapable. And that's where we'll begin our next lesson, a lesson that will continue our logic-based, general revelation triggered discussion on how God overcomes the invisibility of his existence through an inescapable revelation to all mankind, helping them to reach the inescapable conclusion that he, Creator God, exists, that he, multifaceted God, is, among other things, powerful and divine, and like I said, quite the comedian.